Breaking news, folks! It would seem that the hosting company Pyro has launched today. Welcome to Cygnus MC Extra, the show that only exists because I get news dropped on me like a conveniently timed piano. But that's right, people. After being terminated by Modrinth about a month ago, it took them that amount of time to create a new servers, and this time they got European servers. 9950X is some of the top performance in the space. At the price set at €3 per gigabyte, they are squarely set to compete with their previous employer, Modrinth. This will be a slugfest between the new Moderant model and Pyro's rebirth, and thanks to my lenient sponsor over at Lackless, I can cover other hosts fairly without having to hold myself in, so check them out if you have the time. Now then, time to look closer. Many thought that the termination of agreements would be the end of Pyro, with Moderant getting the deal with OVH instead, reducing their core amounts back to 2, but giving you 2 burst cores instead. And a very talented developer from the Pyro team moving to get a job at Moderant. The future of Pyro looked grim, I'm not gonna lie. With the CEO also purchasing a house, as they had a housing crisis, they had 2 options here. Find a job elsewhere or lock in for V2. And while it's not what they plan to launch with, we can now witness the return of Pyrodactyl and the launch of Pyro Alpha. And like I said earlier, this comes with the insanely powerful 9950Xs, which always performed good in my admittedly flawed CPS test. On top of that, you get 4 of the 9950X's powerful cores, shared however, in a 4GB server with the promise of no real overallocation on RAM. They should perform outstandingly. Right now, you can go to the website, get a server for 2 gigs and 2 cores for only €6. It's nuts how fast the Pyro team was able to turn this around and become a new competitor in less than a month. You know, it might be worth saying that these furries do know how to code, don't they? But I digress. Let's take a look at everything Pyro has to offer right now. You might notice that it's a little bit rough around the edges. The website, while nice looking, does just send you to a base WHMCS page to order from. And while the prices look a bit weird in dollars, it's actually set to euro because current events finally allowed European supremacy, am I right? This is a joke, please don't firebomb my house. In addition, they also allow for other games to be hosted as well. But say you buy a server, you get greeted with this. Pyrodactyl. See, while the team first planned to launch with another custom-made panel and backend like they did for Moderant, unfortunately they had to go with Pyrodactyl fork as the bills started racking up and they needed to launch now. Now, if you come from Moderant, you might miss out on some of the comfort features like telling you what's wrong with your server or even downloading a mod pack from the panel itself. But what you get is one of the best Pyrodactyl looking panels that I've had the privilege to work with thus far. It doesn't flash bang you like Bloom does, it's a nice and sleek design, and frankly in some aspects more effort has been put into this panel than other hosts do that run Pyrodactyl. Now sadly, I don't do the CPS test anymore, as I've been informed that they harm the community more than it helps. But while the new testing methodology is currently under development, I can just use Chunky to put the server under a heavy mathematical CPU load and see how well it performs under that. Letting Chunky just render an unlimited amount of chunks for 30 minutes, the MSPT, or the milliseconds per check, never shot above 50. It hovered close, let's be real here, 94.5 is really close to 50, but seeing as you only notice lag really above 50 MSPT, it seems the server handled the load very well. It should be said that the max though shot up to 600 plus, so there are some lag spikes here and there. The reason I had to do an unlimited amount of chunks generated is because it just finished the normal radius render in under 3 minutes, which is just insane. And would I still be doing the CPS test? No other host would even come close to them. That being said, one of the flaws of the CPS test is a node that is underutilized or doesn't have much servers on it does seem to perform better, so that could be also a reason why it's performing this well, as nobody's on the node as when I tested it. But since they are squarely aimed at Modrinth, let's do a comparison, shall we? Let's start with the CPU. Pyro boasts, as mentioned, the powerful 9950Xs, a top performer, and provides its 4GB plan, which I test all these things on, with a 4 V-cores of that 9950X. Moderant, however, has an option to provide you with 2 V-cores of an EPYC 4584 or of EPYC 4584PX, which is the equivalent of a Ryzen 9 7900. And it also gives you 2 extra burst cores on top of that. Both of these hosts also share their CPU cores with others, so other servers might impact your performance. Moderant gives you 32GB of storage, while Pyro boasts 48GB respectively. An admittedly small difference. I mean, you won't fill up Moderant anytime soon, so doesn't really matter. Moving on to the panel, however, this is where Modrinth just wins. Modrinth's panel is just so much more sophisticated than Pyro's alpha version. It has a bunch of quality of life features I don't think you want to miss if you have used them. And you don't have those on Pyrodactyl. So in that aspect, Modrinth still takes the cake. Looking at Spark under load, Pyro seems to hold steady at a 49.50 MSPT under a mathematical load, while Moderant seems to be hovering at 75 at the 95 percentile. Though this, again, might be due to node utilization at Pyro, because if they don't have a lot of nodes on there, this test automatically just performs better. But with 2 extra cores and a more modern CPU, I can't but not give the performance win to Pyro. Pricing wise, Pyro is a little bit more expensive as it is tagged to the euro, with Moderant still sitting at a flat 12 bucks. Post-editing Lunar here, that's wrong. The prices should remain the same for US citizens. And while Moderant only has servers in the US, Pyro comes out swinging with European servers launching in Amsterdam. Dutchies in the comments say ahoy. So overall, I'd say Pyro isn't dwarfing Moderant, but it's going in the right direction. The main consensus is this, right? If you're new to hosting, Moderant will still reign supreme. It hasn't changed from that. That's still like the go-to host I would go to if you're new. But if you want performance, and of course European allocations, go to Pyro. All their stuff is or will be open source eventually. The team behind it went mostly unpaid and grinded their asses off to get this done after being dealt a blow to their plans. This is the definition of putting your head down and getting yourself out of the rut. But let's get to a conclusion. It's important to me to mention that you should not walk away with a feeling of triumph over Moderant. That's the wrong sentiment. After all, it is on them to decide if they want to go in-house with their servers or not. At the end of the day, giving your contractors that much power can lead to some downside. But what you can be happy about is that this team didn't just throw the towel into the ring. Even after their security breach, they just got it done. And while yes, they launched today because of sustainability concerns money-wise, every server bought with them will not only improve the platform, but it will also go towards a team of passionate people dedicated to show that hosting can be done better. And in my opinion, it is worth every penny. It's worth mentioning though that Moderant did make these changes because it found Pyro's model to be unsustainable. So time will now tell if they were right, or if it actually can be done the way they want to. But with that being said, I was Lunar, you are very awesome, and I will see you next time. Also, Ellie, next time, maybe don't drop this like 5 minutes before you go live, buddy. Thank you.